French fries on a Friday morning sounds lovely. What is going on, everyone? Happy Friday. Hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Welcome back to day 12. We did a lot this morning. Started off by doing our usual check-in photos, sent those over to coach. Did a little bit of vacuum work, went to the gym, did our usual bicep and tricep workout. Forgot to film the tricep portion of it, but we got the biceps in. And then finished with abs. I did a little bit of a decline sit-up. I usually like to do abs anywhere between 2 to 3 times a week, usually in the morning. That way I can separate them from my afternoon workouts. Came back, drank my usual shake, getting ready for meal 2, checked in with coach, and we're extremely happy how everything is progressing, how I'm slowly making these gains, how I'm maintaining this lean physique, and how my body's just metabolizing all this food really well. Keep in mind, I'm eating about 4,000 calories, and the craziest part that within this month, we've made 2 increases in calories and my body weight has stayed the same. Honestly, it blows my mind, but he did mention that we might have to do a minor increase really soon. Yay. But better than that, today I'm going to take you guys through my second chest and back workout, and for some reason I get the craziest chest pump when doing this workout, so I'm extremely excited to take you guys through it. Speaking of meal number 2, we changed it up a bit. I didn't have egg whites and I didn't have turkey bacon, so I added 1 more egg, so 4 total eggs. We added ground beef. That's going to be really good in the mix. Obviously our potatoes, and then ketchup. So I'm going to finish meal 2, chill for a bit, and then I'll see you guys at the gym. Let's go. Wait. Now we can go. All right, starting our first exercise with a seated chest press, but not your typical chest press where you're pushing out here. This one is converging, bringing your hands together, making it better to get a nice squeeze. So I highly suggest if you have one of these in your gym, give it a try. Now, I love this one because it's really heavy back here where I can get a nice big stretch. You feel the load here on the pecs, and then you press out and it gets lighter as we bring our hands together, but it makes it easier for me to get a good squeeze and a good lockout. Right, compared to when doing a dumbbell incline bench press, you can get that stretch and that heavy load down here, but when you get up here, it kind of dies out, and by this point, the dumbbells have kind of already met. So with this one, again, it allows me to bring my hands together, so if you haven't tried one of these and you have one at your gym, I suggest checking it out. So I do 3 sets here. My first one is very high rep. I'd say anywhere between 12 to 15 reps, so not that high, but high for me at least. And then my last 2 are very heavy working sets. Now, my first one's not a warm-up, it's still intense, but my last 2 are definitely all out intense. So 2 hard working sets. Last thing I wanna mention here is I like to lower the seat so I can try and focus on more of the middle and upper pecs, as that's what I really need to work on. I guess my genetics are just not here in the upper pecs. So a lot of patience and a lot of work are gonna be put into these pecs. That's why a lot of the things you see on my chest days are favoring the upper pecs. Now, if you just wanna focus on your lower pecs, kind of develop that scoop, and middle pecs, you can kind of just sit where you're slightly above the handles. As for me, I wanna be a little bit below them, so when I press, it's more focus again on my upper chest. So let's give it a go. All right, so one thing I want to mention is just be careful when doing this exercise, especially when trying to focus on your chest and bringing the seat down, because you will also favor your front delt, and also how you press will determine that. So if you round your shoulders forward and you press, you're gonna feel a lot of that on your front delt. So I suggest really focus on rounding your shoulders back, pinch them down, lift that chest up, and then press. Now, don't lift your chest up too much, because if I lift my chest up too much, and it's kind of aligning just as if I were to do and focus on my lower pecs, right? So instead, round your shoulders back, but bring this down. That way I can still focus on my upper pec. It just defeats the purpose if you just lift up too much. All this is kind of all about angles and, hold on, I need to catch my breath. Oh my God. The good thing with that is last week I did 11 reps at this exact weight. Now I did 13. If there's one thing I love about the bulk is that you feel strong as shit. And seeing progress weekly is pretty easy. All right, so moving on into our last and final set. So last week we did 9.5. The goal here is to do 10 or more. That's already a win. So one thing I do want to say is if you're not a fan of doing dumbbell incline bench press or regular dumbbell bench press, maybe you don't feel safe doing it. It does require a little bit more stabilization when doing an exercise like that, sometimes some support, maybe a spot. It really just depends on how you feel when performing the exercise. So you can easily swap that with doing one of the machines, whether it's a machine incline press, whether it's a seated decline or a regular chest press, and you can still grow your pecs, whether it's through dumbbells or a machine. The most important thing is try and focus on full range of motion, try and focus on progressive overload, tracking your weight so you can try and get stronger weekly. And if you're trying to grow, then you would more than likely try to be in some sort of a slight surplus. So one thing I want you guys to notice when I'm doing this chest press, I personally like to keep my chin down. And the only reason why I do that is because it kind of reminds me not to lift up my chest. So I almost use my chin as like an anchor to kind of tell myself, stay down. So the biggest difference here from the seated chest press is basically the angle. Still focusing here on the upper pecs. I'll probably get more upper pecs while doing it this way while pressing up. Like I said, it's really all about the angles. But the reason why I love this specific machine is because, like I've mentioned, the Prime machines allow you to mess around with the resistance. And here, I have it to be really heavy here at the stretch position, at the middle position, and then the load falls off as I press and get into that full extension. That way it's easier to lock out. Just think about it if it was vice versa, where it's really heavy at the end. It would be easy to get out of here, but once it gets to the end, I would never really be able to squeeze and get a good lockout. So, Prime machines, if you have them, I'd highly suggest giving them a try. Number 5 is that beginning to middle to range. That's the way to go. One thing I like to mention is I'm a big fan of the machines just because for me, it's just a lot safer. It's one less thing I have to worry about. And 2, because I train by myself, it's just easier. It's just me and the machine. And again, if I want to go to failure and I can't lift the weight up, I don't have to worry about a spot because worst case scenario, I can just go halfway, go into those partials, and then finish, and then everything's okay. So moving on to our last and final set. One thing I do want to mention is that just because I'm doing these exercises doesn't mean these are the best exercises or these are the ones that you should be doing. I think you should try every exercise and feel the ones that feel best for you. And the ones that don't, scratch them off, and the ones that do, stick to those, get good at those, get comfortable with those, master the form, and just get stronger with those over time. And that's going to be the best way for you to see overall results. All right, here we go, last set. All right, I'm really happy with that because last week I think it was 9.5 and now we managed to get 11. The other partials, I don't count them, but I just keep those in mind. So 11 reps. Oh. If you guys notice when I'm doing almost all my exercises, one thing you'll see consistently is that my speed is always the same. on rep 1 all the way to rep 10 or 12. The speed shouldn't change just because it's getting heavier and you're starting to fatigue and you know that it's getting harder and you're probably not gonna get that next rep. Stick with the same speed, and again, if you can't lift it, it's okay. Go up to where you can and just simply come back down. Do it again, go up to where you can and simply come back down. Those partials, I'm telling you, if you've never tried them, they are game changer. Oh, yeah. Oh my God. So moving on to the third and final exercise for the chest before moving on to back. Single arm low cable press. So kind of just like the one that we did on Monday where we were focusing more on the upper chest where we were going from low to high. Now we're doing the opposite, working on the lower pec, trying to develop that scoop from high to low. Now, the reason why I like this one, just like the upper one, is because we can really try and press around and really try and dig into that inner pec, something you can't really do when you're doing a dumbbell bench press, because again, the load dies off up here, while here, we're really working that short range of the pec. So if you can, give this a try, but notice how I'm anchoring my arm here, because if you don't, then you don't have that stability to be able to push as much weight compared to if you're just doing it like this. So always try to anchor yourself and grab onto something. This is kind of similar to doing flies when the cables are high to low. The only difference here, when gravity's pulling you back, you have to kind of lean forward. Here, I'm just grabbing on, and because I'm doing it single arm, again, I can come across compared to when you're doing them double, you can't really come across unless you do something like this, but then you're always gonna have to kind of cross over. It's not the same. Try it. So I'm not sure if you guys can see the difference, but the pump that I have on just my left pec is ridiculous. Just look at the side profile. Pec is completely scooped out. Let's look at the right now. It's just not even there. Like, it's non-existent. Pretty depressing. I'm telling you, my right pec, the inner part of my pec, I'm just kind of missing that fullness. This left pec is just like sticking out of my shirt, but whatever, it is what it is. Sometimes I like to do even an extra set on my right side, a little bit more reps on my right side. I try and just favor it because at this point, if I can match my right pec to look like my left pec, I think we'll be in good hands. One thing I wanted to say about this exercise, when you are doing high to low cable rows, you want to lift up your chest so you can think about scooping underneath. If you're caved in too much, and you're really not focusing on that lower pec, you're gonna start favoring that shoulder, maybe a little bit of the upper pec. So just when you're doing this, just remember, whether you're doing double cables or single cables, lift up the chest and press down. Oh yeah, there's no chance. When doing something like that, you're really trying to focus on your pecs and really trying to grow your pecs. Think about pressing with your pecs, not with your arm and your shoulder. Pull back, and instead of just punching, think about really throwing that shoulder back and thinking about just trying to connect your chest to just do all of the work. I know it's easier said than done, but try it. All right, so moving on to back, first exercise. Now, this is the only exercise I really focus on my lats. On both my back days, I have really 2 overall total exercises for lat. The first one that you guys saw on Monday was that vertical pull. This one's a little bit more of a horizontal, still slightly vertical, but more of a horizontal pull, trying to focus on the upper and middle parts of the lat. Vinny has like the biggest leg. I really wanted to emphasize this because his leg is like huge. Look at this thing. That man has the biggest leg and the fattest ass I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. Hey. Solid 15. Ah, fuck. Okay, so I've shown you 2 lat exercises in both my back workouts, and this one is probably by far my favorite one and probably one of the easier ones to set up. All you really need is just a bench, put it at an incline, you're using your elbow or your arm for support, for some more stability, and all you really want to do is focus on getting that stretch. So you really want to try and protract, get that stretch, use that arm to support yourself and really retract down, press down, pinch down that shoulder and really pull down, hold it here for a split second. But most importantly, you really want to focus on that stretch. And when you get to those final reps that you really can't pull and get that full range of motion, that's fine. It's going to feel really heavy, but that's what you want. So make sure you fail at those last reps. All right, moving on to our final set. Not that it really matters though, but someday I'd like to pull this whole rack. So we're going on to 170. This is definitely a new PR. I don't think I definitely have never done 170 before. So here we go. It's all about imagination, baby.
Yep, nice. Come on, almost there. Oh, nice.
One, thank you. All right, so moving on to seated rows. Now this exercise for me is extremely important because I'm trying to work on more thickness, and that's why I only have 1 lat exercise, and the next 2 I focus more on the thickness of my middle and upper back. So what I'm trying to do here is instead of just pulling elbows close to my body, I pull elbows 45 and think about elbows going past my body. And the reason why, again, I love this Prime machine is because it's really heavy at the stretch position and the weight comes off as I pull closer to me. It actually feels a lot lighter, therefore I can get a good squeeze. Oh shit. 1. Thank you.
Oh, yep. Come on.
Oh shit. That's it. All right, so to finish up today's chest and back workout, we're finishing up with some cable shrugs. Now I was doing this with dual cable, but now I'm only using 1 single cable and I'm trying something a little bit different. I was doing the handles before and doing a shrug and then a pull to target more of that whole upper region, upper traps, get some rear delts in there. And now I'm just doing it with a single cable bar with a neutral grip handle, trying something different. I saw this one recently and I kind of wanted to give it a try. So this, I just do 2 working hard sets. That's fine.
I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you push it 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much it for today's second chest and back workout. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I'll catch you guys for day 13. Peace, baby.